Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Carrie's Gardening Channel. So today is July the 6th, 2019, and there's a few things I want to talk to you about today, and I'm going to be giving you an update on all of the eggplants and how they're doing. So, Little Fingers here did start blooming for me, and it has the little eggplants hanging on here. And a few things that I want to talk to you about today is one of them, I did a video for how to hand pollinate your eggplants, and I've actually started hand pollinating mine with a paintbrush instead of snapping the blossoms. It just makes it quicker, and it's a little easier, and you don't have to worry about breaking the blossoms off as quick. So this is the swad eggplant back here, and one of the things I wanted to show you is, and this came from a question that I recently got from a new gardener. They're new to gardening and they're growing eggplants. So they said that their blossom died. They tried hand pollinating it and they said that the blossom died. So I wanted to show you here, this blossom here, it looks dead. Okay, it's all shriveled up. It's brown. It doesn't look too good, and this one up here is the same way. Now these were hand pollinated. As long as this stays on, you have a good chance that your plant actually will produce the fruit. So you can see down here all of these hanging on. Now this here is blossom end rot. This needs more calcium, so I'm going to be giving it eggshells. What I'll do is I'll put that down in the container down here, and I'll just water it in then. So you can see a swad here is full of eggplants. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 7 on this plant here. Now this one's growing in the greenhouse. And we've been hitting temperatures in the 80s and 90s. And I do normally run the fan. I don't have the fan on right now so I could do the video because it's really loud and it's hard to hear when you're talking and the fan's running. So another thing that I've been doing with the greenhouse is I've been making the floor and keeping the floor wet. And the reason why I'm doing that is even though the heat is there, it's evaporating and turning into humidity, which is helping to kind of cool it down some. So even though the temperature's there, it feels cooler. And that's been helping out a lot. So you can see down here there's more blossoms here. And I did just feed this one here. I fed it with the Eco Scraps 555 plant food. And I fed it with some Epsom. It gets fed with Epsom salt twice a week. And then I always water it in afterwards. But another thing that I wanted to talk to you about is sometimes your eggplant blossoms and this whole thing will just fall off. And a few things that can cause that is overwatering, it not getting pollinated, or if it gets underwatered, like if it gets really dry. I try and keep these moist. Sometimes I have to water them twice a day out here because of just the heat and the fan running. So it can get pretty warm in the greenhouse. So you can see how big the swad eggplant is here. And we did already taste this one. It is going to be a winner and a keeper for us for next year. Very heavy yielding so far from what I'm seeing. Very pleased with how many eggplants it has on it. I believe I have found a replacement for the Black Beauty eggplant that I could never get to really do anything. You can see here some of the bees are starting to help pollinate the eggplant blossoms. That's really nice. That helps me out a lot. And this has a lot more blossoms coming on it. Now one thing when you feed these with the Eco Scraps, and this was something that I found out, you want to give them a lighter feeding. You don't want to feed it to the max. I tried that on some of my other plants and it actually burnt them. So always go less on your plant food than what they actually tell you to. So I'm going to show you some of my other eggplants here real quick. We'll be right back. And this one here is Rosa Bianca. You can see how tall this thing is getting. And you can see here the blossom fell off here. That's natural, that's normal. And you can see here that the part that was housing the blossom is still on here. And this one was hand pollinated, so it should be giving me a nice eggplant. This is the first time I've ever tried Rosa Bianca, so I'm really excited to see what this one here does. I have one of these growing outside as well, which you will see in the update video. And you can see here they have more blossoms coming. This it's growing very tall. Looks like a very strong plant. Now over here, this one here is ping tongue. And I already harvested like 4 of these off of here. Now one thing I noticed with the ping tongues growing in the greenhouse, they don't really get the purple color to them. They stay more like a lighter purple with they stay like a lighter purple. Sometimes they can be more white and they'll have like some purple stripes in them. But you can see here some of these that are hanging on, and I will actually put a picture here from one of my harvests that I did off of this particular plant here. And they got very large. I had some that got very large on me, and no seeds in them, no bitterness, no tough skin. So this is definitely one of our favorite eggplants here. I want to show you this here. You can see here the blossom is completely dead on this thing. As soon as the camera focuses in, it's gone. Okay, it looks dead and it looks like it never took. But if you look in here, you can see the eggplant fruit just starting to form. So as long as this is on and it got pollinated and you keep your soil moist, you don't want it to dry out on you, you should get an eggplant out of it. You can see here, see how big this thing is. And I do have 3 of these growing outside as well. You can see one of the ping tongues there. It's pretty long. So I did have to turn the fan back on because it's heating up in here pretty good, and I want to keep air flowing through this. So it was a little too hot for me. I had to turn the fan back on. But this one here is the Little Fingers eggplant. Now Little Fingers blooms in a cluster here. And sometimes these blooms here will just come right off like this one here did. And these still stay on. So you can see down here that, ouch, prickly, that the Little Fingers eggplant fruit is hanging on here. Now you want to keep your plants free of debris so we don't have any issues with like Bortress blight or anything like that. And this is the first year I've ever grown Little Fingers, so I'm really excited to see what it tastes like. And you can see here it's a very tall plant. I do have some of these growing outside as well. And then over here is another Rosa Bianca plant. Now this one here did not start blooming yet, but it did set the buds to start blooming. So I'm really excited to try this variety when it starts blooming for me. So next I will show you the ones that were growing outside. I did that video a few days ago. I've been trying to work around everything, and I have a lot of stuff that I've been transplanting and still planting. So I have this one. I have an update on how the ones are growing outside coming up right next, and you can see how those are doing. But I just wanted to give you a quick update on how the eggplants in the greenhouse are doing, how to deal with blossom end rot, and how to, why, you know, maybe some of your blossoms are falling off, or what it means when your blossoms actually do fall off like these right here. So today is July the 3rd, 2019, and I wanted to give you an update on how the eggplants are doing. Now these were the ones that were growing outside. In one of my previous videos when I showed them, they had a a lot of sun and wind burn to them. Now they have recovered from that. So these are the ping tongs here. You can see they're loaded with blooms. I did just recently switch the plant food on these. I started using the Eco Scraps 555 all-purpose plant food on them. That is an organic plant food. I'll have that a link for that down in the description of the video. And I do feed these twice a week with Epsom salt, and I do give them every other week a feeding of a product called Sea Magic. So you can see here the eggplants are hanging on. See down in through here. There's more eggplants on. Now, ping tong is one of my favorite varieties. It's very tender skin, and it's really sweet. Now, you don't have to peel this one because the skin is nice and tender. So I could actually take these off and start harvesting these. Now, these can get up to 18 inches long and 2 inches in diameter. And their coloring can vary some. They can be more of a white color, or a light kind of lavender purple. Now when I harvest these off, I did do a video for how to harvest your eggplants. I'll take my pruners and I will just cut the stem off. You don't want to try and yank them off the plant or anything like that, because you could damage your plants and break them. So I just use the pruners and go ahead and cut them off then and put them in the refrigerator. And this one here is my diamond eggplant. Now you can see the damage done by the flea beetles, and Japanese beetles will eat these too. So we did our homemade Japanese beetle traps. I did do a video for that on my channel for how we make them, so you can check that out. But I wanted to show you here, this is the diamond eggplants here. They're hanging on here, and I'm going to be harvesting these off. This one here, there's some other ones on here. Now I'm not taking the little ones off. I'm only going to be taking the larger ones off. But there's more blossoms coming on it here. And these here are the Matoya eggplants here, and you can see there are some hanging on with the Matoyas. Now I have 2 of those, and then there's this one over here. This one here is the swad eggplant that's growing outdoors. Now, this one here is blooming. Watch out for the pricks, because these are very prickly, and they will stick you. So, here's one of the swads right here hanging on. So, we did try the Matoya already. We really like the flavor of it. It's very sweet, has nice tender flesh. And we did try the swad eggplant. I did a video on that on my channel. Now, this one here had nice, sweet flesh, wonderful flavor. Now, the skin was just a teensy bit tough for us, but the flavor made up for it. So, it wasn't anything to cause an issue. And then these are the pink tongues here. They're just loaded with blooms. I've been hand pollinating these. So these are more eggplants here. This is a diamond one that's growing outside. Now this is one of the ones that I put in that vegetable trough that we did the tutorial for how to make it. This one here is Rosa Bianca. This one here is just starting to set buds to bloom. The one in the greenhouse is blooming. And then back here, this one here is Little Fingers. Little Fingers in the greenhouse does have the eggplants on it. These here, the blooms are just coming on this particular plant here. So if you like my video, please like, comment, subscribe. Please don't forget to hit the little notification button all the times I put a new video on. You can also follow me on Twitter. I will have a link down in the description for my Twitter account. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a nice day. Bye.